Today we are going to learn how to factor quadratics, okay? Now, the reason you need to know how to factor, number one, to solve a quadratic by hand, you have to factor, okay? I know the calculator will solve it, but on the EOC, as y'all saw yesterday, it would ask which of these could be a factor of it, and that's what you need to know how to do, and you can't do that with your calculator. So it's super important that you understand this. All right, before we start, let's look at the parts of a quadratic. So everybody look, this is the form that it's in. The a, b, and c will be replaced with numbers, and then x squared stays x squared, and x stays x, or just whatever variable that they use, yes? But when I say a, I'm referring to the first term attached to the x squared. When I say b, I'm referring to the number, the coefficient of the second term. And when I say c, I'm talking about that constant at the back. Make sense? Yes or no? Okay. These are just cheat sheets, and honestly, I don't even have them all memorized, but if you memorize them, it helps. If you have a quadratic that looks like this, both parentheses will have plus signs. So if you have a quadratic that has a plus plus, then the parentheses will be a plus plus. Okay? If you have a quadratic where the second term is a minus and the last term is a plus, they will both be minuses. If you have a plus minus here, then it's going to be a plus minus here. Those actually match up. And if you have a minus minus, it's going to be a plus minus 2, or minus plus. It doesn't matter what order it's in. So basically, we're undoing FOIL today. You will be able to check all of your answers with FOIL. First, outer, inner, last. Everybody remember FOIL, yes? All right. So here are the steps that you're going to follow, and this is not going to make sense while you're writing it. Just write it down. Once I show you an example, it will make sense, okay? This is called the X method, and this is what they teach at the high school as well, so you won't be confused. There are other methods of solving quadratics, and one is called guess and check. Not my favorite way. I love this X method because it works on hard quadratics, okay? You're going to draw an X, which is why I have X's all over the paper. In the top part of the X, you're going to put factors. You're going to multiply A times C. Okay, sorry. And then down here, you're going to put B. And then what you're going to look for is factors of A times B. And your calculator will give y'all factors. So I want to explain that. So let's talk about something simple. What are factors of 12? So 1 times 12, 2 times, and 3 times 4. So pretend you don't know that. You can go to your y equals button in your calculator, and you can put 12 over x, and it will give you the factors of 12, because it's basically saying what times a number will give me 12. So everybody look. I should have all eyes on the board. We are going to get into some that are very hard. Like if I asked what are factors of 262, would y'all be able to do it in your heads? No. Today they're going to be easy, but you need to know how to do this. You take your number and divide by x and go to your table, and those are your factors of 12. So everybody look. Let me get there. 1 times 12 is? 2 times 6 is? 12, and 3 times 4 is? Did it give me the factors of 12? It will also give you fractions and decimals. You don't want those, so you're only looking at the whole numbers, okay? All right, so we're looking at factors of, oh my gosh, I didn't even write it correctly, and y'all didn't correct me. You're looking at factors of A times C. To find the factors, you're going to use your calculator, if you need to, by putting in y equals A times C over x, just like I did y equals 12 over x. The table will give you the factors. Now, what am I going to do once I get the factors of it?
on the side.
You're going to put them on the side, and you're going to ask yourself this question. You need factors of A times C that add up to B. And again, this will all make sense in just a second. So what is our goal today? Let's stop and talk about it. Our goal is going to be to take a quadratic like this and make it look like these with parentheses, like x plus 6 times x minus 2 or something. Make sense? All right, so this is what we're going to do. The first thing we're going to do is multiply A times C and put it here. This is the A, this is the C. So what is A?
1.
What is C? What is 1 times 18? So that goes here. Now, just so y'all know, for today, the A is all going to be 1. But I don't want you to think that we're just putting C here. Because in a few days, the A will be like a 2 or a 5. And you can't just put the C. Make sense? Yes? Okay, here we go. What goes here? 11. We are looking for factors of 18. So two numbers that multiply to give me 18, that if I add them together will give me 11. So let's talk about the factors of 18. Start with 1. 1 times what? 1 times 18 is? 18. But if I add those, would they ever give me 11? So that's not going to work. What's the next factor of 18? 2 times 9. 2 times 9 is 18. When I add them, would that give me 11? So those are going to be my answers. Those are going to go in my parentheses. But here's how you know what to do. You make little fractions right here. So do y'all see how I wrote that right here? And you put the factors on top. So 2 and 9. And it doesn't matter if I put the 2 on the left and the 9 on the right or vice versa. It does not matter. And then what goes on the bottom? A. So A is what today? So for today, A is always going to be 1. But next week, A might be 2 or 3. If you get an A that's a big number, you have to simplify the fraction before you move on. Today, you won't need to simplify anything because the denominator is 1. Now you make your parentheses down here. And all you're going to do is drop these numbers here. The bottom number will go first and get the x. So this would be 1x. The top number is going to go second, and it's positive, so plus 2. Same thing here. The bottom number is going to go first and get the x. The top number goes second. And you're done.
So we don't do nothing with 18 and 11?
No, that's just we use those numbers to get these. Now, let's see if we got it right. How could I check my answer? Solve it by doing FOIL. So let's check our answer. First, what's x times x? X squared. Outer, what's 1x times 9? So plus 9x. Inner, what's 2 times 1x?
2x.
And last, what's 2 times 9? If I simplify this, would it give me this? Yes, so I factored it correctly. Easy? All right, let's do this one. What goes in this top piece?
2.
Don't tell me, just tell me how to get it. A times, so what's 1 times 2? What goes here? B, which is 3. What am I looking for? Factors of 2 that add up to equal. So what is a factor of 2? 1 times 2 or 2 times 1? Would 1 plus 2 give me 3? So I'm going to make fractions here. And these numbers go on the top. What goes on the bottom? A. The value of A. What is A? And like I said, A will be 1 today. but I want you to do every single one of these steps to get used to it, okay? Make your parentheses. Which one goes first? The bottom. So 1x plus 1 and 1x plus 2. And you're done. Okay, turn the page. Try the next one on your own. It does not matter. So if you put x plus 5 first and x plus 2 second, it would give you the same answer. How did we do? Yes or no? Yes? All right, try this one on your own.
So I don't really have to flip the 1.
No, if you want to, you can. It's the same thing. How did we do? Now, what is different about this next one? There's a minus sign, so this is different. Okay, go do your steps the same way, but your thoughts need to change. Okay, so here we go. What's going to go here? 1 times 8. What's going to go here? Now, we are looking for factors that will multiply to give us positive 8, but add up to give us negative 6. So what would give us a positive multiplication, but a negative addition? 2 negatives, yes? 2 negatives multiply to give you a positive. So my factors will be the same, so like 1 times 8, but these 2 positives will never add up to give me a negative, so I just put negatives on them. Does that make sense? All right, would negative 1 plus negative 8 equal negative 6? No. How about negative 2 times negative 4? Would that multiply to give me positive 8? Would it add up to give me negative 6? Yes. So I have negative 2 over 1 and negative 4 over 1. Now, make sure you're using the correct variable. Am I using an x in this problem or an n? N. So I have now, here's a big thing you need to listen to. You know how in fractions it doesn't matter where you put the negative? Okay, but this matters. Those negatives have to stay with those numbers. So the negative 2 is the second number, so it would be x minus 2. Or n minus 2, excuse me. So n minus 2 times n minus 4. Okay, let's look at this next one. Is this one different? Why is this one different? The minus sign is on the third term, so our thought process has to change a little bit, yes? All right, what is A times C? Negative 15. What is B? Now our thought process needs to change. When I multiply 2 numbers, how can I get a negative? A negative times a positive. So when I factor negative 15, one's going to be a positive, one's going to be a Negative. So I have 1 times negative 15, and I have negative 1 times 15. Would those ever add up to give me positive 2? No. How about, I can't do a factor of 2. What about 3? 5 times 3. So I could do negative 3 times positive 5, or I could do positive 3 times negative 5. Would either of these add up to give me positive 2? Which one? This one. So that's going to be the one I use. So I have negative 3 over A and 5 over A. If you put the negative with the 5, you will not get it correct. So I have t minus 3 and t plus 5. Okay, I want you to try the last two on your own. Okay, check your answers with mine when you finish. And then I want to answer any questions you might have. Are there any questions? Nobody has a question? Everybody got it right? Do we need to do 2 more? Are we sure? Okay, skip to this part. What does this part say? How have I already taught you to solve?
What's it called?
How have I taught you? I've already taught you how to solve these. Taught you last Friday. Where did you go? To y equals. On your assignment today, I am fine with you doing it like that. But for now, I just want to show y'all how to solve them by hand. Then we'll do them on our assignment in our calculator, okay? So everybody look at this first one. Can you solve a quadratic that's not set equal to 0? What's the first thing you have to do? Set it equal to 0. So how would I do that? Move this 18 over here. So I have x squared plus 3x. How would I get this 18 over here? Minus 18 equals 0. Now, if you want to solve it in your calculator, you would go put this where? y1. Where would you put this? And then you would look for the x-intercepts, right? But we're going to solve it by hand by factoring, so you'll see why we're learning this. All right. What's a times c? Negative 18. What's b? Okay, how can I multiply to get a negative? A positive times a negative. So negative 18 times 1 or 18 times negative 1 will never give me 3, will it? Okay. How about 2 times 9? Would that ever give me 3? Even if I put a negative on one? Nope. Okay, so no. How about 3 times 6? Which one would get the negative to add up to give me positive 3?
That doesn't even make sense.
Shakayla, what is negative 3 plus 6?
Oh.
There you go. I knew you would see. All right, so now I just go put them over A. So negative 3 over A and 6 over A. And then so it's x minus 3 times x plus 6. Yes? But is that my answer or did I just factor? I just factored. So how would I solve these? I would set each of them equal to 0 and then solve. So I would have x minus 3 equals 0 and x plus 6 equals 0. So what would my answers be? X equals 3 and x equals negative 6. Now let's go put them in our calculator and see if we get that. Check your windows real quick. I'm going to change them to negative 10, positive 10 because I want to be able to see the intercepts. I'm going to just look at my graph. Okay, it's all good now. Don't look at that. Okay. Okay, here we go. To solve this in my calculator, I would put this in y1, x squared plus 3x minus 18, and I would put 0. I would hit what? Second trace, option 5, wait for it to graph. Do I even need to do enter, or can y'all see the answers? One is at positive 3, and one is at negative 6. Y'all see it? Okay, let's do one more by hand. Which one do y'all want to do? Do you see the intercepts at negative 6 and positive 3? Well, you have to move it to the left by subtraction. Remember? Okay, let's go do this one. By hand. Everybody should be sitting up. The first thing I have to do is set this equal to what? 0. So how would I move this to the left? So I have t squared plus 9t plus 20 equals 0. What's a times c? 20. What's b? 9. So I'm looking for factors of 20 that add up to equal 9. 1 times 20 is not going to give it to me. 2 times 10? 4 times 5? Yes. So 4 over 1 and 5 over 1. So I have x plus 4 times x plus 5. If I was to solve those by setting them equal to 0, what would my answers be? Yes, x equals negative 4 and x equals negative 5. It doesn't matter what order you put it in. Questions? Could I have just put this in my calculator and solved? Yes. All right, go to the back. Let's look at some real-world examples. These are not hard, and these have been on the EOC before. So you need to pay attention how to set it up and how to know it's a quadratic. Find the dimensions of the rectangle that has an area of 100. So what did they just give me?
Inside.
They gave me the area. How do you find area? So length times width equals area. Does everybody agree? It says the length is x. So everybody go to the length and put x. What does it say the width is? What does it say the width is? X minus 15. Okay, so I need to do length times width. Do you think these need to be in parentheses if I'm multiplying? Yes, so I have length x times x minus 15 is equal to, what is the answer? 100. Now question, how do I know this is a quadratic and I need to set it equal to 0? Here's how you know. If I was to distribute this What is x times x? X squared. If you get x squared, it is a quadratic. Does that make sense? If you just get x, then it's a basic equation that you can solve normally. Does that make sense? So I'm going to say it again. If you ever get something like this, that is a normal equation. You put this in y1, that in y2, it's two straight lines, yes? But if you get this, how do I know that's a quadratic? It has a square. If you get an x squared, you have to set it equal to 0. So that has to come over to the left to use my calculator. Make sense? All right, so I need to move the 100 to the left. What must this be set equal to? Do I have to expand it to use my calculator? No. So I'm going to move the 100 to the left by subtraction. So I have x times x minus 15 minus 100 equals 0. Now, if you want to go factor this and solve it, you absolutely can. I don't. I want to use my calculator. Make sense? Now, I have to look at what my windows are set to, and it's probably not going to be big enough. So I'm going to set it to negative, 25, positive 25 on both the x-min and max. If that isn't big enough, I'll go make it bigger. Okay? So I go to y equals, I type in x, open parentheses, x minus 15, close, minus 100. Everybody got it? Put for y2, put 0. Second trace, 5. Wait for it to graph. Now, how many intersections are there going to be?
2.
But how?
1.
I only want 1. So which answer would I use?
What they need.
Say it. The positive. Why? What are we looking at here? Measurement. Can you have a negative measurement? No. So it's going to be this positive number. So all you got to do is move your cursor close to that positive answer. And the answer is? So x equals 20. Now, is that the answer to the whole problem? The question said, find the length and the width. Well, what is the length? 20, because it's x. What is the width? X minus 15, which is 20 minus 15, which is 5. All right, let's go do the next one. I just plugged in 20 for x. Okay. All right, the next one says, find the dimensions of the triangle with an area of 119. Well, what's the formula for area of a triangle?
What?
Okay, I see what you're saying. Yes, you can do that. But the one that was on your star chart last year is 1/2
It was on the star chart?
base times height
Last year.
equals area last year. But yes, you would get the same thing. But a triangle doesn't have a length and a width, so we call it a base and a height.
Well, on the,
I see what you're saying, so I'm going to leave it
I think I
alone.
know why I got that question wrong on the previous one.
Okay, here we go. Let's fill in what we know. It says the base is what? So it's going to go here. And the height is what? All right, let's go fill in the pieces that we know. 1/2 times, do I need parentheses? Yes. The base, which is x plus 6, times the height, which is x plus 3, is equal to, what is the answer?
119.
How do I know this is going to be a quadratic equation? Because it's going to have an x squared if I FOIL this, yes? Do I have to FOIL it? No, but I have to set it equal to, so this needs to move over here. How would I move it? So I have 1/2 x plus 6 times x minus 3 minus 119 equals 0. And you don't have to... I keep doing that. Thank you. I did it earlier. X plus 3. Now I go to y equals and type that in. How many answers am I going to have on the graph?
2.
But which answer do I use? The positive. Because we're talking about measurement. What is the value of x?
11.
Questions? All right, what is the base if it's x plus 6?
17.
11 plus 6 is 17. What is the height if it's x plus 3?
14.
14. Okay, you are going to do the entire front page. Why did I give you this page of x's? So that you can show the x method that I taught you without having to draw it on your own. Okay, so let's do number 1. This is what I would do. I would write t squared plus 8t plus 12. If you don't want to write that down, you don't have to. That's just who I am as a person. I would write it down. Okay, so here we go. What is a times c? 12. What is b? I am looking for factors of 12 that add up to 8. 12 times 1 will never be it. 3 times 4 will never be 8. 2 times 6. I'm showing my strategy. So 2 times 6 adds up to equal 8. So I put 2 over a and 6 over a. Please use the variable they give you. So what variable am I using?
T.
So I have t plus 2 and t plus 6. And then transfer your answer so that it's easy to grade. And see how much better that looks than having to draw a big X over here. This is how you show your work. So yes, I will take it up, but I'm not going to grade it. I just want to make sure you show your work. Now,
How do you find the factors in the calculator again? How do you find the factors in the calculator?
you don't.
I thought you said that we could.
Oh, how do you find the factors? Yes, I'm sorry. To find a factor in your calculator. So if you're looking for a factor of 12, you simply do 12 divided by x. And it will give you all the factors. So whatever factor you're looking for, divided by x. Okay? All right. So on 1 through 16, you're doing the x method. But look at 17 through 26. Does it say factor or does it say solve? Do I care if you use your calculator? So you don't have to do the x method here. But it must be set equal to, and then how many answers will you have? 2, maybe 1, the negative and the positive, or 2 positives, whatever. Okay? Be careful on 16. Everybody look at number 16. What should you do to this before you go do anything?
Change it.
Yeah, put it in the correct order. M squared minus 3m minus 4. Because you can't do a times c if it's not in the a spot. Make sense? Okay, you may get started.